Ready? Play.
My name is Clara Towson, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
I am Francisca George, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Susan Leemans, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom. Yeah.
My name is Zainab Sammaz, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hey guys, my name is Sasha Vickery, and I'm a friend of the show.
Boom.
Hi, my name is Lloyd Harris, and I'm a friend of the show.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Paolini, and I'm a friend of the show.
Wow, Jasmine, you got it in one time. With the mental side of tennis, from my perspective as a fan, if you like, the two things that strike me in tennis compared to lots of other sports that I think make it a big mental challenge is, first of all, it's an individual sport. But secondly, so there's nowhere to hide. Like in football, in a team sport, you can just give the ball to another, teammate, and you cannot call for it if you like. But there's nowhere to hide. The other thing as well in tennis is again in something like football, you can be really nervous, but you can get a bit lucky. And of course, that can be the case in tennis. But basically, your body could be shaking when you're about to take a penalty, okay? And you can still score because you can just put your foot through it, right? You just hit it as hard as you can. And actually, probably you will still score because of the odds on that.
Yeah.
But there's that in a sport such as darts, snooker, tennis, where you need to be pretty calm and you need to have a pretty steady hand. There's just nowhere to hide. Is there anything I'm missing, or am I underplaying something, or even overplaying?
No. I think you're 100% correct. I think the real tough thing about these sports and tennis in particular, because of how physical it is as well, is the relentlessness of point after point. And if you're nervous, you have to fight through those nerves sometimes for, an hour. and they might disappear for a while, but then suddenly, you're 5-all and it's tight again and you're feeling very tight, and you have to manage it over and over again. And I think, the best players in the world just, use their tools and remember to use their tools in big moments. Because, once you get to pro level, it's not like any player doesn't kind of know what they have to do, but it's in the heat of that moment that they either don't remember because the brain is frying a little bit, or they don't have the courage to use them.
Yeah.
So, for us sitting there, I remember when Roger Federer had 2 match points against Novak at Wimbledon serving.
Yeah.
You're thinking serve and volley both.
Okay.
Yeah, probably Novak's not going to make a great return on both.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know whether what Roger was thinking, or maybe knew something more than I did, but that was my thinking. But he didn't, and they slipped through his hands. Now, to do that though in that moment takes a huge amount of courage.
Yeah.
And first to make the decision, and then secondly to follow through the decision like that. But then you've always got, and this is what's so tough for players. The other thing is, match point, make the person play. Don't serve and give them a quick volley or whatever. And that's another school of thought. But I think deep down, players get to a place where they have an instinct. And I think, I say this over and over again, the best players in the world are the most relaxed and the bravest. Because in those moments, when their instinct is telling them something, they are brave enough to follow it, and which is why. And again, it doesn't guarantee you're going to win, but I do think it starts to push the odds more in your favor. I'll just say one other thing is, I don't know if anybody's ever been go-karting or any kind of motor racing or watches motor racing, but when a driver gets in the groove, they lap like within 0.1 of a second every lap, like in this unbelievable groove. But if they lose that groove, when they're in that groove, it seems so easy. Just do it, right? No hassle. But if they lose that groove, if they go a little too fast, then they slide out of a corner, they lose time. If they go a little too slow, then that's not effective. And the margins are so small to stay on that groove. And for players as well, when you go into something like the French Open or any tournament, but especially the big ones, you hope that you can get through that first match and find a groove. And if you get in that groove, then that gives you your best chances of winning, because then most stuff is happening automatically, which is the most effective. Everybody has a problem when they start to think on the court, and automatic is fastest and easiest because you know how to do things. And it's not like you don't register. I say when you're playing very well, you are aware of everything, but nothing distracts you. When you start to think, your thoughts start to distract you. And that's very difficult to manage. And if you can learn how to manage that and get yourself back in the groove a little faster than other players, that's obviously, helps with ranking and why certain players, are more consistent than others, because they tend to manage that.
Ready?
I hope that makes sense, Henry.
It does. Yeah, it definitely does. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Number 11, Marta Kostyuk. Number 10, Paula Badosa. Number 9, Barbora Krejcikova. Number 8, Jasmine Paolini. Number 7, Elena Rybakina. Number 6, Danielle Collins. Number 5, Zhang Qinwen. Number 4, Coco Gauff. Number 3, Jessica Pegula. Number 2, Iga Swiatek. And number 1, for the first time in my power rankings history, Aryna Sabalenka.
Well, someone is on mute.
I hope I haven't caught you off guard there.
No, that's fine. I was like 50-50 in terms of, is he actually going to start? Is he not?
I mean, if you weren't quite ready, then I would.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
I was prepared.
There's actually a match going on. There's actually a match going on right now, right?
I mean, there's always a match going on. There's a very important match going on right now at the US Open, and that's not Jordan Thompson against Alex de Minaur. That is, of course, perhaps Donald Young's last match of his career, the mixed doubles quarterfinal. He's playing with Taylor Townsend. That's probably the more important match going on right now.
Yeah.
Danilina Heliovara up a set on the legend, and well, Prodigy Junior turned wildcard merchant.
I know what I need to do. I need to fix my microphone. Yes, but in the meantime, is it 1-set all now between Thompson and de Minaur?
Yeah.
I saw it's 5-3 Thompson, which of course comes as a bit of a surprise, bearing in mind how the first set went, because we had 3 6-love sets in a row after getting 2 against Dan Evans. He backed that up by beginning the first set and winning it 6-love de Minaur, but he's not backed up in the next set because it's now 1-set all, which may come as a surprise to some observers. Well, this one certainly. Not that I've seen a huge amount of it. Draper winning. Did you expect him to win quite so easily?
Obviously not. He was 0-3 in the head-to-head against Mahac. Generally a matchup that has cost him trouble.
Very surprising to see him get through with
even this year, right? Geneva. Okay. Anyway, I guess I was not expecting that, as we probably lost John. Well, Mahac just played absolutely horrible on the day. I don't know if it was nerves, if it was, just kind of overall. No, it can't be fatigue with the week. I mean, he won 3 matches in straights, just like Jack. But yeah, I mean, he was absolutely dreadful. I don't know. Sometimes you just go out there and you have a nightmare. And that's what Thomas Mahac had today.
Does Samsonova have much of a chance of pushing Iga?
Yeah, I mean, Samsonova is a player who kind of decides a lot of the matches that she plays.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've already seen Iga do it twice against her. Like, she plays a bit more economically, though. She plays just controlled tennis, basically gets the ball back in, gets that error from Samsonova most of the time. We've seen her do it on a court that's quicker than, similarly quick, I guess, to this one. And we've seen her do it on a court that's slower, which does kind of seem to suggest that Swiatek might be able to do it sort of regardless of that. But it really just depends on her attitude a lot, I think, Swiatek as well. The way she played some of the big hitters in the past, like Ostapenko at the US Open last year, she probably loses a match like this if she's in a similar zone. If she's in a similar zone as in Dubai 2023 or Beijing 2023, though, that's kind of where Samsonova's game, even with all the power, might come out a little irrelevant today. We had I'm assuming some support for Liuda about an hour ago from Mr. Vladimir. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead. He said something.
Okay, the first comment. I didn't understand it.
Yeah, I don't really understand it either. I think he's saying hi first, CM, and then Pabijit.
Vanch is wondering if you're talking about Vladimir Putin, by the way.
No, it's Vladimir Chernyshenko.
Well, that sounds like it could even. If it's Chernyshenko, it may sound like Ukrainian to me. But anyway,
I mean, why?
Just because the Shenko, it's a more Ukrainian.
Alexander Shevchenko is Russian, or not anymore, but yeah. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm basing this on. But anyway, yeah, of course, Andriy Shevchenko was Ukrainian. But yeah, I don't think there are that many like big differences, I guess, between their surnames. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I cannot understand the words that Vladimir said. I just can kind of read it more or less. But anyway, yeah, maybe there's some support for Luda in the chat. Clearly not from Sworda though.
No, I saw that. Yeah. Have we got some support for Alex de Minaur versus Jordan Thompson, Vanch? Because that match is sort of taking an interesting turn in the last half an hour or so.
Yeah, I think when we're doing the stream, we can definitely, cover that one as well, because they're playing best of 3 now, basically.
Yeah.
But
yes,
yeah, I mean, just to see just how fit Alex really is, because he's coming off of the injury that he had at Wimbledon, and he basically didn't play any singles matches until now. So should be a real test.
Yeah, especially if it goes like something like 5. That will be an interesting moment. I don't think de Minaur's been 5 yet in this tournament, has he?
No.
So we'll see. You love these tweets, by the way, Damien, that Opta like to spring upon us. And the final word on I'm not sure if I'm sharing this yet. I think my internet's a bit slow, but this one here, outright, is the final comment that Opta have gone for on this Iga stat tonight being her 100th.
You mean
match.
the AI bot has gone for?
The AI bot, yes. I wouldn't mind having a few bots do certain tasks that I menially do at Talking Tennis, but that day will arrive one day, perhaps. Jake here saying hi. Make sure you hit the like button. Jake, great to have you on board. I don't know if you're on a night shift or where you are at. Samsonova, Vanch. Both Damien and I, to varying degrees, think that she does have a chance, as is so often the case, though it is very much up to Samsonova in a way, right, Vanch?
Yeah, kind of. I think they played 3 times. It's 3-0, but Samsonova did push her in 2022 Stuttgart in the semifinals there. The last 2 matches were very one-sided in favor of Iga, especially the zone that Iga was in Beijing, where she was just playing so much more controlled offensive tennis. I think it really just sort of depends, how well Samsonova is able to serve and how well she's able to get the first strike in. The conditions do slow down a little bit at night, so that should, I think, help. That should, I think, help Iga, especially if she does play, if she does sort of show that sort of controlled aggression that she did in the previous round against Pavlyuchenkova. I don't know whether Samsonova will be consistent enough to get the first strike in, and when Iga is able to keep her moving, like the way, for instance, Ostapenko is basically completely able to avoid that being an issue, or Rybakina. But it has the potential to be a match that's upset alert.
Yeah, I mean, it was exactly a year ago at this stage, anyway, that of course Swiatek came unstuck to a similar type of opponent, Damien.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair to say that it's not exactly the same. It's not as troubling for her, but yeah, sure. It's fair to say that. I think she's had matches, obviously, around that part of the year. Last year was when she had a couple of them, Ostapenko at the US Open, then Kudermetova in Tokyo, where like she just didn't play smart against that type of opponent. I guess since we've generally seen her improve on that. Also, what Vanch mentioned, I mean, against Pavlyuchenkova in the third round, I think it was a very good warm-up for that. In the second round against Shibahara, she also played like a pretty controlled version of her game. It was just Rakimova in the first round that was different, where she was, just firing forehand returns into the fence all the time. But yeah, I mean, she kind of let herself into this match already with how she played against Pavlyuchenkova. So I guess, if we just assume that Iga is going to be on top of her game mentally as well, and that's probably where she kind of just prevails regardless of what's happening. But yeah, 2022 Stuttgart, that was probably the best match that we've seen from Swiatek in that 37 match winning streak. Of course, not from like Swiatek herself, just in terms of overall excitement, quality, drama.
Was that the one where she was sort of closest to losing then potentially in that sort of a lot of straight sets, a lot of bagels and all the rest of it. But that was the one where in the midst, I guess, of that streak, because, that would have come between the French Open and also well after. Where did the streak begin? In the Middle East, I guess, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, in
She lost
Doha.
to Ostapenko in Dubai, then won Doha, then won Indian Wells, then won Miami, then Stuttgart.
So it probably came right in the middle. It probably came about 20 matches in before she eventually lost at Wimbledon.
Yeah, more or less, yeah.
But there we go. So we could have been talking about a very different. I mean, Iga's 37 match winning streak, it's kind of spoken in pretty high manners, no, right? Like in terms of she's won 4 Grand Slams, is it? 3 French, 1 US Open.
Yeah,
5
already.
What am I
Yeah,
missing?
4
4
and 1.
French Open, is it? Okay. So, I mean, we talk about 4 French Opens, of course. We talk about some of the manner in which she's won them. We talk about perhaps the first one for obvious reasons, the one on a hard court, and so on and so forth. And then the weeks at number 1, which will probably only grow in terms of every time she steps up that ladder. But in and amongst the 3 or 4 achievements that she's had in the game, that 37 match winning streak, you know, is in there in that conversation, right, Vanch?
Yeah, it is. I actually made a somewhat controversial tweet after she won Roland Garros, which is I said that
Controversial tweet alert.
I said like her run from Beijing to winning the French Open actually impressed me more than the 37 match streak, just because of the quality of opposition and the fact that she had to regain the number 1 ranking, and the fact that she sustained it for an even longer period.
So Beijing of 23 to French Open 24, this stretch of 9 months or 8 months or whatever it would have been.
Yeah, it was like 60 matches. She lost 4 times. Obviously, the Noskova loss at the Australian Open, you could use that as maybe against that statement. But I think aside from that, it was just a really dominant stretch.
But from the good news point of view, is there's only 1 Grand Slam in that run. Well, of course, the French Open being 2. But what I mean is that I'm trying to put this in the right way. She sort of either dominates a tournament or she doesn't. And there's 3 Grand Slams, 2 in particular, where, you know, she's not even really making an impression. And neither of those 2 Grand Slams appeared, one of them did, but the Wimbledon obviously didn't in that run. Okay, I should probably turn my TV on because I wouldn't be surprised if they're about to get underway.
They're already 1 game off.
Yeah, it's 1-1 right now. So
there we go. What have I missed?
Nothing. I mean, Samsonova starting much better than in Dubai or Beijing by winning her first service game, by getting a couple of free points on serve, having that net point as well, that she converted for 30-15. So, you know, it's signs of life for her. I mean, Dubai, I remember, was just such a massive disappointment because all you had at the time in the Samsonova-Swiatek rivalry was the Stuttgart match. And you come into this thinking, okay, Dubai, quick court. Iga doesn't really like it. Samsonova, yes, one of the worst matchups for her on tour stylistically. And then the match is over in like an hour. And Samsonova cannot win a point. Like literally just cannot get a point for free. So that match especially, I remember, you know, as having some sort of PTSD about it, given that I was just thinking, oh, this is such a good battle, you know. Last time they played was amazing. And yeah, it just never materialized.
Yeah.
By now, I'm a little more disinvested in the matchup. By now, I'm like, yeah, 90% of the time, Iga takes it somewhat easily. But of course, since then, we've seen Dubai, we've seen Beijing. So,
I mean, as long as she can just hang on to her coattail, then it stays at least intriguing. Sorry, Vance, you were going to say?
Oh, I was going to say another talking point might be that in 4th rounds of majors, outside of Roland Garros, we have seen Iga, like that's kind of been the struggle round for her. I think she is 8-7 overall in major 4th rounds, but 5-1 at Roland Garros, 3-6 outside of Roland Garros. So
it feels like a lot of them are sort of ranked at the 4th round level, if you know what I mean. You know, with the exception of possibly Rybakina, who would have been underranked, if that makes sense, in Australia a year or 2 ago. You know, she's losing to Ostapenko, she's losing to Samsonova, she's losing to Noskova. They're kind of in this sort of 10 to 20 in the world
Noskova is round 3, but yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Okay.
Like a lot of these lower ranked sort of like opponents that she's facing, lower ranked, compared to Iga, they kind of have a similar playstyle, and it's that playstyle that affects her at the quicker majors. And yeah, because they are kind of like hit or miss, they aren't going to be joining Iga in the top 4, but they are probably going to be meeting her in the 4th round, the quarters, the 3rd round. So there might be some logic behind it. Obviously, still not a huge sample, and yeah, just in general, I mean, she's been losing to let's say opponents of this quality at all the other majors, basically, other than Roland Garros. Regardless of the round, really, I mean, she hasn't really been doing too well. The fact that she has that US Open 2022 just completely changes how we talk about it right now.
Yeah, it does.
True.
And it will continue to do so for probably another couple of French Opens, which if she wins 2 more French Opens is phenomenal. But she may even damage her legacy if she wins 9 French Opens and 1 US Open.
Yeah.
We did have a 15-30 here, by the way, for Samsonova. She won a forehand-to-forehand rally with pace. But then Iga came up with 2 pretty big serves. She just hit an ace at 86 miles per hour, but it was really well placed.
Yeah. By the 9th French Open title, I think we could kind of run out of the impact of the 1 US Open title. It would still be improving her legacy completely, but yeah, it wouldn't be enough to kind of still have her in the conversation as an all-surface Grand Slam player. Presently, she's still kind of in there, but hanging by a thread. Definitely, of course, she's been the best hardcore WTA 1000 player over the past 3 years. Just hasn't really translated it to the slams. And that US Open 2022 round was also gritty as hell. Niemeyer, Sabalenka. Yeah, it's not obvious that she's gonna win the title here. I mean, she's got a very tough set of opponents ahead, but certainly doing it would be amazing again for kind of just how we look at her, how she looks at her achievements as well.
How much of a danger is it that we are going to get to 7, 8, 9 French Opens before she adds a slam elsewhere? Is that likely at all, or is it just she's just going to win one of these 2 hardcourt majors, especially at some point, Vanch?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to remain a talking point until she adds. I think if she gets her 2nd hardcourt major, before she wins, her 6th Roland Garros, maybe. I mean, what is she at right now? 4, right? So maybe if she wins 2 outside of Roland Garros before she gets her 6th, maybe then it's it's somewhat comparable. I mean, I'm comparing it to Rafa, I guess. The difference is that Rafa was making Wimbledon finals. Yeah. So I think that's a little bit different from Iga right now.
Right now,
yeah, but then again, I mean, he didn't win his first non-Roland Garros slam until he had 4 Roland Garros titles already, right?
Yeah, 4 Roland Garros and then 2008 Wimbledon, and then the 6th one was hardcourt. So
yeah, and her 3rd slam was already off. But yeah, again, it just kind of proves the point that that one event really changes everything so far for her.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Oh my goodness me, the haters would be piling on right now if it was 4 French Opens and nothing else, or 5 or 6 French Opens and nothing else.
Yeah.
Are aces the most useless stat to check when serves unreturned exists, says Keen? Sort of. I mean, definitely the percentage of unreturned serves tells you a bit more. And watching Samsonova, she's not a very tough player to describe, Keen. She's just going to blast the serve, blast the powerful flat forehand, and that's kind of end of the story.
The ace stat, by the way, is rightfully maligned at times, but I will just add maybe to play devil's advocate, as I see Swiatek hold eventually, just to play maybe devil's advocate. When we see someone aced, generally we just go, amazing serve, you just can't do anything about it. When we see an unreturnable, sometimes, especially if it's a lame second serve, I'm thinking of Zverev pre-2023.
Then that's not an unreturnable. That's
I know, but I bet it would easily just go in the stat.
We talked about that term already, and that term doesn't really exist, unreturnable, Like it's not going to be a stat. It's unreturned. So like a second
Unreturned,
serve, that's very weak. Like it's not an unreturnable, whatever that term is
unreturned.
supposed to mean.
So that's the problem with the unreturned, that you might just go, well, this person has just returned lamely today.
Yeah.
Whereas what I think Keane is obviously seeking is obviously to say, look, and I get it. I do get it that an unreturned serve would suggest it was a pretty good serve, and therefore, you're better off having 10 unreturned serves than compared to 2 aces, because
there is a bit of a way of getting out of that, which is also service winners, and the majors actually have that, but I think the counting is a little tricky. However, the majors actually, like when IBM does a major, they have it in their stats where you have aces and you have service winners, and service winners would be aces plus the serves you barely got a racket on, which is also a good cop out of this. But I guess you can go so many different ways with these stats. So
we've got the handkerchief out for Swiatek a few times. I do remember seeing it quite a lot, and I'm not saying it indicates whether she's going to win or lose or not, but it'll be for the people that are huge fans of her and desperate to seek defense. I'm sure that they'll, if she was to lose tonight, it'll be well, she was a bit ill. Just like when she lost to Rybakina in Indian Wells, and also Krejcikova in Ostrava. I know that those 2 losses, rightly or wrongly, have gone into the category of, well, Swiatek was either
maybe
hurt
more
or...
Dubai, Krejcikova.
I've heard Ostrava as well.
The
Ostrava loss. She was under the weather or sick.
I mean, people like to explain losses with not actually giving praise to the player to the underdog, to someone who created
I thought it was more of a thing in Dubai. I don't remember.
I think so as well, yeah.
I have heard it for Ostrava. I know one or two people that said it, but maybe it was a bigger thing in Dubai.
Yeah, I probably can sort of guess who. But anyway,
I think you can actually.
Yeah, I probably can. But I think that people just love to explain stuff, and we've seen it very well at this year's US Open. Like, all the endless talk about basically Djokovic and Alcaraz, how tough the calendar was on them when they played 1 match combined since the Olympics. And basically also Yannick Sinner this year, who is still unbeaten when healthy. So Rafa, who was unbeaten when healthy most of his career.
Yeah.
So people just love that, Just anytime someone loses, there must be some sort of health issue. Because, I mean, why would they lose, Why would they lose to the other professional tennis player who spent 20 years, doing exactly this?
Just one more thing on aces. I like the ace rate better than number of aces. Sometimes I think that tells a story. Yeah. Well, actually, every time it tells a story better than just number.
For sure. Sometimes you get the 20 point game on someone's serve, and the other guy just has 4 points. Obviously, there's going to be more chances to hit one. I actually like it on the Challenger Tour scoreboards in the new provider, the new format. They've got like when they show aces for either player, kind of like mid-match, then they show the number of aces / the number of points. And they don't really give you the percentage, but of course you can kind of figure it out for yourself. And I think it was very telling. I watched Watanuki against Te this morning, and Watanuki was at like 12 out of 54, and Te was at 8 out of 80 something. So 12-8, that doesn't sound like there's a big discrepancy, but when you include the number of points they played on serve, then suddenly it's much bigger. Well, we've had 1 breakpoint already. Looks like we are also going to have another.
Iga's sort of reading those approach shots to her backhand. So
yeah, this one she got really well out of, right? I mean, yeah. I was not expecting her to be in the points still, and I guess Samsonova wasn't either.
One more thing, Samsonova likes to use the drop shot on her forehand side. Like, she likes to go pretty hard, heavy, and then the drop shot when she's feeling really confident.
Yeah, we've seen one already.
I don't know if it will be a thing today, though.
Let's see if it'll be a...
sometimes it's like kind of tough to throw in a drop shot when the courts are like relatively quick as well.
That was a lovely passing shot from Iga. You don't see that sort of type of passing shot. I mean, it landed fairly centrally in the end, but I like that sort of arcing height as well. I mean, Samsonova will be disappointed that she lost that particular point because she was more or less in charge of it.
Did you guys watch the Beatrice Haddad Maya Wozniacki? Any of that match?
I didn't. I've seen the match point save.
Yeah. I was gonna say the match point. The serve was so slow that it didn't register.
Oh, that one as well. Yeah.
I think it was under 60 miles per hour because it didn't register.
Yeah. Which I think was probably intentional rather than anxiety.
Yeah, it was like, no, she was hitting most of her serves under 75, like the final game, and like the last two serves were like 71, 60. You know, there was a 69 in there as well, and like I think the last one was under 60.
So a couple of break points come and gone, and yeah. Wonder if Iga will end up regretting those. Both players striking the ball early, generally cleanly, although not on that occasion from Iga. I know I'm a point behind you guys.
Yeah. 3 break points in this game saved by Samsonova. Or was it just 2 actually? My bad. Might have
3,
been just 2.
3 so 3. Far, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. 2 advantages and a 30-40.
Right. Actually, just 2, right?
No, I think
2
3.
break
But
points.
I thought a 30-40 and 2 advantages, but I could be wrong. I'm getting confused because, by the way, I'm behind you, so I might be looking at the second one rather than the third.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it was just 2. 30-40 and 1 advantage.
I'm
Mhm.
seeing the second, or I'm seeing the juice point that's now gone the way of some sort of a second serve that was very manageable. That was not unreturnable, that's for sure. The one that sealed the 2-all for Samsonova.
Yeah, pretty competitive 4 games.
Yeah.
21 minutes, 4 games in. It's already way more competitive than.
It's already way more competitive than. Well, also more competitive than Iga's second round match here.
Yeah.
What was my answer when Durlan asked me who my favorite Smurf is? Maybe the brainy one. I think he's maybe the most funny one. I don't know. Is the backhand forehand drop shot more popular on tour? Pretty individual. But maybe the backhand is a little safer for most players. I mean, you've got people like Djokovic who there was a time at least when he only played 1 drop shot backhand down the line. Advanced guy as well, despite all her magic. I guess it's kind of easier. But, love 30 here. Swiatek has to be pretty careful. She is quite careful on that first +1 point. I mean, I don't know if it counts as being careful, but it still seemed like relatively safe margins, let's say.
Pretty safe to a big target, so.
Yeah. Especially combined with the serve out wide and then the classic into the other direction. I would still count this as relatively safe, but yeah.
More for up 5-2.
Yeah.
At least Samsonova's ball is actually bothering her today, at least in the early days of this match. You know, it's not quite Beijing, where That's, of course, the famous match when the WTA statisticians managed to count 2 winners, I think, and 0 unforced errors for Swiatek or something like that. Let me tell you that if Henry Patton was doing the work, he would have counted an unforced error.
Yeah,
I wonder how many
medium pace. This is a medium pace court, I think. Everything
Despite what they were saying pre-tournament, when they were like saying, "Oh, it's going to be as fast as Cincinnati."
Apparently, it registered as the same in the court pace index, but yeah, there's a lot more other factors. And I
Also,
mean,
the women use different balls than the men, right? Like the women's
exactly.
balls are lighter.
For
The men
example,
use like the
that
heavy
or
duty
the
balls.
humid conditions that you're not gonna get in Cincinnati, right? I mean, we had a conversation about this like a few days ago on the stream, and like it all depends on where you put the scale. Sort of like if for you Cincinnati is a rapid court, then I mean you're kind of just looking at the tour how it is right now, and yeah, it kind of is. If you wanna compare it to like carpets or like the super quick indoor hard courts in Italy, then maybe that's medium fast, and maybe then you can call it this one medium. But if like kind of Cincinnati is the very top, then this is at least medium fast still. So yeah, I mean it's not really like something that we can, I think, put down to this is clearly that. Like that word is what we can use to describe that sort of pace. It's really all depends like what's the top of your scale, what's the S tier in terms of the speed, and yeah. I don't think we can really say that, but of course, there's also going to be a lot of different opinions even from the players. So.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, she gets out of
is...
this. Maybe that 30-15 point was a bit of a somewhat missed opportunity for Samsonova. There was this huge forehand cross she went for, but Swiatek gets to it in time, gets quite a lot of height on the counter cross, and she wins that point as well, and she wins that whole game. But it's not comfortable so far. Like it's not Dubai, which is at least a good sign, because I remember how that match went. I remember how Beijing went, and maybe today is just going to be a bit of a better show at least.
Yeah. Both these players have gotten better as the tournament's gone along. Well, Samsonova was almost out in the second round, so I think, and then she just cruised to her third round. Iga, that was the best match she's played in a long time in the third round here, so that was definitely encouraging for her. Good warm up for this match, like you were saying, with Alexandrova.
Pavlyuchenkova.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Pavlyuchenkova.
Yeah, potato. I mean, they pretty much all play the same. So.
They're similar, yeah.
Pavlyuchenkova probably a bit less so, but yeah, I mean, I can totally get that. Yeah.
Diminur's 2 sets went up, by the way. So.
Oh, he's got the third set here. Keen is asking about Spotify. Well, I hope me sharing on the screen answered that question, Keen. We are all over Spotify. Snehel, by the way. Well, all over it. I mean, we're on it anyway. Snehel, by the way, I hope you get some sleep at some point, because you were on a stream at about 7 p.m. my time, which would have been about, I don't know, 1 or 2 in the morning in New Delhi. And now you are awake again, joining another stream. So hopefully you managed to get some shut-eye in. I say New Delhi, that's just a sort of generic term for Indian time. I know that there's obviously other time zones. But by the way, I've got Donald Young's scoreline on the screen right now.
Is the career over or not? I mean, it's so
Not
fitting
yet.
as well that it ends on a wild card, and the pickleball pro might just survive until tomorrow. And I think the mixed semis is also tomorrow. So, yeah, he would play again. I don't know if he can take that sort of, amount of work. I mean, he hasn't replayed in like a year.
Yeah. When was his last match?
2023, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I was thinking. I had to check, but yeah, I think there's only one time zone in India. So.
There is only one time zone.
There's only
okay.
one. Right?
I didn't want to make a fool out of myself, so I checked. But yeah,
it's like 6.5, like something like that. I think from Central European time.
For me, it's 12 and a half hours ahead. So for you guys, it would be
Central European time,
6.5.
Yeah, something like that. Plus 5:30 or whatever it is. Yeah,
maybe 5.5. Yeah, I don't know. Snehel can tell us.
And yeah, that's pretty clean from Samsonova again. This
Yeah.
time she goes for the trusted out wide, serve out wide, go the other direction play. And 6 games in, we're looking at a match. We are
This is great so
actually,
far. Yeah.
yeah,
It's-
we are actually looking at a match.
I guess it's slightly better for Samsonova so far, in terms of the fact that we're looking at a match, and probably if we weren't looking at a match, it would be more likely to go the way of Iga. But there's also an argument to say that Iga's the one that's maybe threatened the serve slightly more with those break points, and she sometimes does go down an early break against some of these sort of opponents, you know, Daniel Collins, for example, and others, and she has to get it back. But yeah.
19 points each, 3 games all. I mean, it's
Nice.
yeah,
Okay.
very little separating them.
2 match points for Donald Young and Taylor Townsend. Imagine if Donald Young wins this event. Oh my god. It was just amazing. I mean, in a career full of colorful moments, this would be also one that would be up there. They are going to have a match point now. On their serve, I mean, they're the second match point. I might actually see it. Do you think Taylor is serving, or is it the legend that's serving? That's the question. It's the legend. Okay, yeah. Then Danilina and Heliovara are toast. You know, it's Donald Young serving. It's gonna be 200 miles an hour.
Okay, yeah. Donald Young is serving, I think, right?
The best server in the world, yeah. And it's actually a second serve. Yeah. It would be kind of fitting to see Donald Young double fault now because, okay, never mind, he didn't. But yeah, he actually even makes the pass to win. Heliovara was trying to swat it away and I think completely missed the ball. So yeah, he's still into the semis with Taylor. And that's not Taylor Fritz. That is not also Taylor Swift. That is just Taylor Townsend, who is probably the best player out of her and Taylor Swift. And well, yeah, let's get back to Swiatek Samsonova now. But yeah, the legend survives until tomorrow. Where I don't actually remember who they're going to play because, well, I guess it's mixed doubles. It's kind of random as all in all. But there's Erani Vavasori as well still left in the event. Who won the Bopanna Ebden clash? I think it was I don't remember. But yeah, that's who they're going to play because Erani Vavasori are facing Grant and Kovacevic. Kova, by the way, in his first mixed doubles event ever into the semis already. And the Taylor Townsend Donald Young duo is going to have to face Rohan Bopanna alias Sutiadi. So yeah, that's actually kind of winnable. It's better than Evden Krejcikova, I think. So
oh yeah, Evden Krejcikova lost. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, there was an Evden Bopanna.
They won the
showdown.
second set, or they
It's
won the
pretty
first set in a tiebreak, or
they
I'm saying
lost the first set
Krejcikova
in the
and
tiebreak.
Evden won the second set 6-2. I remember seeing
Yes,
that.
and they lost
So-
the breaker then.
Okay.
But yeah, they lost the first set in a tiebreak. They dominated the second. But yeah, Bopanna ever against Ebden. That's a pretty fun showdown, of course. And yeah, earlier today there was a massive story in doubles. In fact, 20 wins of Ram Salisbury coming to an end. No more no fourth title for them this US Open, as they lose to Lamons and Withrow.
Yeah, that pair. They had a really good summer.
Yeah, won 4 titles this year. I think they are tied with Arevalo Pavic, and 3 of them were literally like recently on home soil, I think. So
Did they also win Winston-Salem? I feel like they won Winston-Salem.
won
and
Winston-Salem,
they won-
yes, they won
Yeah.
Winston-Salem. They won Atlanta, Washington, and Winston-Salem, I think, maybe, and
Yeah,
something earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Could have been Houston even, but I'm not sure. No, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, 20 wins stopped. Actually, Lamons Withrow also 3 years ago beat Mektic Pavic when they were the top pair in the world at the US Open. I think Lamons also eliminated like Kubot Melo with somebody 5 years ago. Wifro, I think, beat the Bryans in 2019 at US Open or something like that. So, yeah, they've been making these upsets basically all around, playing with each other for a few years now. Not a major upset for sure, but just the fact that the streak is over is, of course, the big story there. Who's the woman I'm seeing on my screen right now? She appears famous, but maybe no. Maybe maybe they're just showing her because she's dancing and having a good time.
I have no idea. Maybe it's just a excited fan.
Big celebration there from Iga, which to hold there with that ace down the tee. I think she definitely knows she's in a game here. That's for sure.
Yeah, and she's pretty locked in so far as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, if she wasn't, she wouldn't be able to afford it, right? If she that's how well Samsonova started. But of course, let's see if there's that crumble moment soon or not.
Thompson did hold to start the fourth set. He's also in the quarters of doubles, so he's looking to get to final 8 in both.
Yeah, losing. Gonna play Granollers Zeballos tomorrow with Max Purcell, of course. Might be the most recent pairing to stop Granollers Zeballos from winning a slam. But yeah, we'll see how that goes tomorrow. Of course, they almost won Wimbledon with Purcell. 3 match points in the final. And I think Jordan also has 4 titles this year, so he's by himself tied with Arevalo Pavic and Lamons Wifro. Because he won 3 with Purcell and won Madrid with Korda. Well, if this was going to be the break if this was going to be the game that Swiatek kind of hunts for a break, then it's probably not going to work out.
Yeah, Samsonova holding easily. Last service game, now 30 love up here.
New balls as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Samsonova winning quite a fair few of those forehand to forehand rallies.
This was Iga trying to go for, well, again, that blow for blow approach. But I mean, love 30, I don't really think I hate it.
Yeah. Samsonova likes to use the body serve and also likes her favorite is the serve down the tee, especially on the ad side. She likes doing that.
And yeah, all in all, this ends up being a pretty quick game for Samsonova.
Yeah.
4 games all so far. The serves definitely have been the players have put a lot of focus into staying on serve. It seems like one break will just decide it all.
Winner of this match will play Jessica Pegula on Wednesday. The most informed player of the hardcourt summer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if we get Swiatek Pegula, this will most likely be the best Swiatek Pegula match we've seen yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, last year they played 4 times and they split them. Of course, Swiatek won the 2 finals in Doha and then also the year-end finals. But Pegula won the famous Cotton Eye Joe match.
Yeah.
I bet Jessica finds that moment far more amusing than Iga.
Yeah. I mean, it was one of the legendary moments of her career, along with drinking Heineken beer at a press conference.
Well, I hope for Jessica's sake, at the end of her career, it's not the two things we look back on.
Yeah.
Like, the Heineken in the press conference and the Cotton Eye Joe. I mean,
Not
especially
that much
Cotton Eye
time, but at least
I
Cotton
know.
Eye Joe is connected to the biggest title of her career, right? So
Yeah, but Cotton Eye Joe was not her doing something, whereas at least the Heineken was her showing her personality.
yeah, but that was after a loss, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was also
yeah.
like that one Instagram post where she lost to Iga in Doha, and then she was eating like Doritos and.
Yeah, I
like-
vaguely remember that. Yeah, that was quite funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably do want 5 sets then, Swanner, because it's probably, what is it? Set 1 p.m. here, so it's probably about 8 p.m. there, right?
Yeah.
A lot of quick matches today.
Yeah, I think especially the first two on both Ash and Armstrong were a bit dire. I mean, you still got the Muchova masterclass, but I mean, Medvedev Borges was not even half as good as it was in Australia, and it wasn't that good to begin with in Australia.
Yeah.
And also, what else was there? There was something else that was like super easy. Pegula Schneider was kind of like didn't really live up to the hype, and Draper Machac definitely did not live up to the hype. So
yeah, that one surprised me how easy Draper won that.
Yeah,
like, Machac was way off his game. Of course, Jack also played pretty well, but
yeah, but like some of the comments I've received on Twitter about Jack being unplayable were kind of.
it's so
I
weird.
mean, I
like, he
could
hasn't
have
been
beaten
tested
Thomas
yet.
Machac today, you know.
Like, you know how we talk about like the top players, like, oh, he or she hasn't really been tested yet. Like, that's how I feel like about Jack Draper this tournament.
Jack hasn't faced the seed, you know.
Yeah, he's just cruised.
But he also had a very difficult first round, but he maybe got away.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if health was allowing Zhang to play, yeah.
Yeah, that's why. And then also Carlos losing, and then him getting Botek instead, and it was just.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely hasn't been tested at all. It's still like the third time he does very well at the US Open. It should help him out as well with managing the physical issues or whatever. Where are the people right now who are like, Draper sucks in best of 5 play? I remember like laughing a lot about this comment that I got under some sort of Nori match analysis when he lost at Wimbledon, and like how it's time we talk about Draper being so awful in best of 5. And I'm like, mate, I mean, he did not lose this because of best of 5. He got outplayed from the very first 30 minutes of the match. I mean,
but what's his record in fifth sets?
I don't think he's played many.
He lost a 5th setter in Roland Garros this year, right? Was that also play Alcaraz in the second round? No, I remember that. Yeah, it was against
Jesper de Jong. But he also won one against Elias Zimmer in the Wimbledon first round. I think he's like maybe 2-1, 3-1, something like that. I mean, it's no sample size really to speak of. But of course, he's been struggling physically in long matches. That's something that is very much true.
Yeah.
The 2022 US Open, I thought he was playing really well. Like, but he beat Felix in straights, and then he was winning against Hachanov before he got ill.
Yeah. There was like a third set maybe there that he had to retire in or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Hachanov made the semis. So
yeah, he's only played 3 5-setters and actually 1 each at every slam this year. So it would be very fitting if the next round, or even then the round after that for Jack, is going to be a 5-setter. He actually played a 5-setter in every single, well, in the first 3 slams this year, he was playing a 5-setter in the opening round. And that's all 5-set matches he's ever played.
He also faded quite badly against Rafa in 23, Australia.
Yeah, I mean,
4 sets.
that's with Draper, you could literally go for half his matches he lost in the 2023 season. So, especially the ADM ones, which might come into play because ADM is likely to play him next. And there was that Chinese one or whatever it was, the Asian swing anyway. There was Wimbledon as well between them that also kind of featured the same. So I don't know. I mean, Jack has been playing like pretty controlled so far, but against ADM, maybe that's the match where he kind of has to go all out. Someone who will have to go all out on the next few points is Samsonova. 4-5. We just have a couple of pretty random errors, I guess, to begin.
Yeah. Coming off the forehand, which has been pretty reliable so far.
And that's the that's how Samsonova loses most of her matches, I guess, with games like this. Let's just see if she can actually get out of it, or is it set over? That's a second serve as well, I think. So
yeah, that was out.
Really, yeah, it was very close, but it's getting really tense now on the Liuda serve.
Yeah. See, Swiatek is going to try to take this one early or play it a bit more safe.
I just try to play it safe, and that's what she does as well.
Yeah,
Nurlan would be proud. It works as well. I mean,
yeah, pretty safe. Didn't really have to do much.
Yeah, just kind of feels like she's played Samsonova a couple of times now, and she knows what to do.
Yeah,
whereas perhaps in the past it wasn't a thing.
She seems like very calm and relaxed right now out there. Like her demeanor is very chill right now so far.
Of course, it could have been very different if she's not locked in, if she's not focused, and Samsonova starts the match as well as she did. But that's not what we saw. I mean, what we just saw was just Samsonova making 4 errors in the 4-5 game. And it's going to be set Swiatek. Not routine, but basically, yeah, she just waited around for that one Samsonova game where her game falls apart. And it came.
Yeah.
But it's a good start, obviously. I mean, it's the type of tennis that you think should take her relatively far at the US Open. The set of challenges that would be awaiting if she beats Samsonova are actually very different. Like, of course, stylistically, the closest opponent she could probably face would be Sabalenka in the final. But like first up, she's going to have Pegula, she's going to have Muchova maybe in the semis, right? So like very different opponents, really. But still, it's like, it's pretty controlled. There's no overhitting. She's doing exactly what she's supposed to so far. Let's see. They're both going off the court, it seems.
Yes. Yeah, Samsonova in this set, 16 unforced errors is 4 winners.
4 winners?
Yeah, I think that seems kind of...
Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, she must have hit a lot of forced errors. I mean, forced a lot of errors out of Swiatek. And that's a stat, by the way, Keen, that's pretty useless. Winners by itself without the forced errors. I mean, it tells you something, but it gives you a much clearer picture if we include all 3 statistics. Winners, forced errors, and unforced errors.
Yeah, there's also a slightly underwhelming feel at how that set finished. This is not coming from a standpoint of wanting Iga to win or lose, but it was just like, okay, it's quite intriguing right now. Samsonova's playing very consistently, very well, rarely threatened on her serve with the exception of one service game. And then she throws in 4 unforced errors and the set goes the way of Iga.
Yeah, I mean, she literally just kind of waited around for that game from Samsonova. And to be honest, most of the sets that Liudmila plays, like it comes at some point. Of course, there was like a couple of pressure moments as well on the Swiatek serve. So, well, that's kind of what you want to do, right? Just survive these, be really focused on your serve, and probably that game is going to come at some point. And yeah, love 30 down as well. Swiatek kind of just puts her second serve return in play. Where is Nurlan when we need him? Nurlan is like constantly spamming about Swiatek not adjusting her returning ever. So, well, she just did.
Nurlan will arrive in half an hour when Iga's just won at 6-love and be like, oh, why are you leaving? Why are you going? Because the match is over, Nurlan. There was something funny that Nurlan said, I'm going to bed or something. And Swana, I forget what Swana said. It was something very funny. It was the arrows. Something like life after Nurlan goes to bed, basically improving.
Do I think Andrade will have suffered much from the whole Tomic thing in the final? I mean, Keen, this is something we only learned after the final, right? That Bernie was there and they kicked him out. So, yeah, I don't think I can really answer that. Who did he play? Let me remember. I mean, he was outplayed like pretty heavily, right? Andres Andrade, not exactly maybe the most high ceiling player. I think in both the Savannah final and the Santo Domingo final, he didn't really have much to do. So, yeah, I wouldn't really look at it, I guess. First bit of tennis the entire tournament, Jake. Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh. And have you guys watched the Challengers film yet? Keen is asking. I did not.
I've seen it. I saw it like the first week, actually, that it came out with a couple of friends. And yeah, let's just say, I guess, I don't know if you'll like it or not. I think you'll find it amusing. I think Damien will find it amusing, but we'll probably, I guess, they say that they say in the movie that challengers are the lowest level of tennis. And I can imagine
I've heard that quote in like
Oh,
a
I didn't
trailer.
know that. I haven't seen
they kind of dismissed the ITF tour completely.
I've heard that quote somewhere, yeah. I mean,
The
I
actual
will probably
tennis
watch
was-
it at some point, but I don't know. Whenever I have the sort of opportunity to watch a movie, I just never really go for that one, you know? I don't think I ever even have it anywhere on my drive or anything, but I do have like King Richard. I've had it on my drive for like the past 3 years, and I just don't watch it. I mean, whenever I want to watch a movie, I probably want to steer away from the tennis a little bit, you know, just keep my sanity.
sense.
I watch way
I've
too much
seen-
tennis
I've
every
seen
day
King
to
Richard,
like
and
also
I'll
be
watch
watching
the Federer documentary before I watch Challengers for sure.
I definitely won't watch that either. I'm not interested in things like that either. I don't know. It's tough, I guess, to interest me with tennis
I
content in
liked
general.
the Federer documentary a lot. It was really well done because
I
it didn't just
like
focus on his career. It did not at all talk about. It wasn't like, oh, Federer was a ball boy and let's
Yeah.
walk through his entire history as a player.
Wait,
because
what?
it would
Federer
have-
was a ball boy?
Yeah, exactly. Like that would have been so boring, But instead, it was just focused on that 1 week before his retirement, and some of the inside things were good. So I liked it.
Yeah, I'll watch it, and I think I'll like it. I may get around to watching Challengers one day, but I bet it'll be because someone else wants to watch it, and I'll end up watching because of that. I don't think it'll be me consciously watching it on my own. But yeah, the Federer one of the directors I know a little bit in terms of his previous work, and that's always been pretty good. I think he worked on the Maradona documentary and also Cristiano Ronaldo and Senna as well. So he
Is
had a pretty
Cristiano
good
Ronaldo the one where they like fly these charter planes and like there's I've seen a bit of something like that, but maybe that was actually a documentary on his girlfriend / wife or whoever it was. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But the
It was,
Maradona one,
it was like something insane. Like they were flying a charter plane to Milan from like Madrid or something like that to go shopping.
okay.
And someone showed that to me, but I don't think it's that documentary.
There's a bit in the Maradona one where Maradona gets annoyed with the director who's working like with him, if you like, because I think he touches his leg or something. So and Maradona goes, "You don't," like by mistake. I think Maradona's sitting down and the other guy's on the floor or something. Anyway, whatever. He does it by mistake, and Maradona just basically loses it with him, saying, "You don't touch my left leg," because this is the golden, the golden part of
The
body.
leg of God. The leg of
Yeah,
God.
indeed. Yeah. Oh, look at Nurlan coming in the chat. Now, good of you to join us before the end of the match, anyway.
I was just summoning you, Nurlan, because on the point at love 30 at 4-5, Iga Świątek played a very safe return on second serve. So, Nurlan. Because that's kind of how it is, Nahil, also. We are the sincere clients, we are the hard workers, and John is just like in bed, But of course, yeah, I mean, he wasn't even gonna, he wasn't sure if he was gonna, join, so... but yeah, he is kind of the lazy boss figure. Although I have to admit that having spent a couple of weeks with John this year, there's actually quite a lot of behind the scenes work for Talking Tennis as well that he has to do. And I'm glad that he doesn't share it with us. I prefer not to know. So, yeah. He's just sitting there. But anyway,
my screen froze. But all I know is you cut at the point when you said there's a lot of behind the scenes work, and I'm glad he doesn't share it with us. But is it? I'm just trying to think what it might be. Do you mean?
I mean, just overall in terms of the editing the videos and all the
yeah, trimming them to find the golden parts that you make separate videos for.
For example, that, that's something that you don't really notice when you just come onto the stream and you sit here for 2 hours, which is tough as well. I'm not saying that's just something we do, and it's not taxing at all. But definitely, I think when it comes to that sort of work, I'm just very glad I'm not a part of it. Can I pick one challenger match to watch tomorrow? Keith, this is actually a ridiculous question. You know it, right? I mean, it's six events. I will look at the schedule. I will give you my answer. But off the top of my head, with 6 matches, with 6 events, I cannot tell you. I definitely know there's Ibing Wu against Yu Su, but that kind of doesn't really count. If we have Wu Atanuki in the second round, I would literally explode if we get this much. But yeah, I'll look at the schedule and I'll give you an answer just in about 2 minutes. Let's see this rally first. This is actually really nice. Samsonova, what's sort of defending, but Swiatek keeps going at it, playing with very good margins and finds the backhand winner as well. This was probably the best rally of the match, and I think maybe even the best rally in the history of the rivalry in a way.
Yeah,
because it's usually much more fast paced, and it's usually it doesn't get to that.
Yeah, Swiatek was just holding her ground from the baseline, not really getting rushed. Just striking the ball really confidently, and then flattening out the backhand. Didn't even need to go for the line or any corner or anything. Just buy her time, find the opening.
Yeah, so having checked the schedule, Keen, I would say maybe Gombo's Jab maybe in Shanghai, or actually my first choice is probably De Bru Monteiro in Genoa. Of course, the Como champion facing off against the former Genoa champion. I think that should be really good if De Bru has any fuel left, which I guess we'll find out. But we will also find out if this match has legs maybe here, as there's 2 breakpoints for Swiatek.
Yeah. Alex de Minaur was broken, by the way, so Thompson served for consolidating his break at 3-1, but got broken back.
Okay.
So back on serve in the 4th.
Oh, wow. Did she find it? I guess she did. Yeah. What a game. I mean, if that 4-5 game was just Samsonova leaking mostly, this was the break where Iga works for it in a big way. Is this some of the best tennis she's ever played at the US Open?
I'm trying to remember the 2022. Some of the.
I mean, 22 wasn't too impressive quality-wise overall. I think she beat Pegula and Jabber mostly because she just owns these matchups.
The Pegula match was just a total break fest. I remember every game in the second set was just break.
And I think both of these matches she won because she owns these matchups, not only game-wise but also psychologically, at least at the time. And Sabalenka Niemeyer, that was just a big struggle, right?
Sabalenka, the second set that she won 6-1. I don't remember.
I
too
guess,
much
yeah,
about
sure.
it, but
Sure. But just looking at the match overall, I kind of more think about, the deficit in the third. And
yeah. But yeah, I mean, if like let's assume she wins this match, like 6-4, 6-2, 6-4, 6-1, or 6-4, 6 whatever, 6-love. Like the last 4 sets would have been really, really good stuff. Just combine this one and the Alexandrova. The second round was just such a quality gap. There was just such a quality gap that you're just like, you can ignore that. The Shibahara one.
Yeah, Shibahara.
Yes,
Shibahara, I wouldn't really count. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's like that sort of quality where Iga just runs into an early round at a slam and it's an
The
opponent.
Rakimova match was ugly for sure. That one was
mess.
It
easily could have gone free and it wouldn't have been a good result for her.
And her backhand was failing her at some serious key moments in that match, but still ended up getting through.
But yeah, of course, it's still not a given she's going to take it from here. But if she is going to, like, let's say, throw in one more break, playing like the game before, that will be, a bit of a message to the rest of the event. Even if, as I said, I mean, the challenges ahead are a little different, at least until the final, potentially. That's the nice way to kind of get back into this from Samsonova.
So de Minaur holds for 3-all. Would you have if assume that de Minaur wins this match from here in 4 sets or 5, whatever it may be, but de Minaur wins, he'd have made 3 quarterfinals in a row in a major. And he has the quarterfinal from 2020 at the US Open. If someone had told you that he makes 4 major quarterfinals and none of them are at the Australian Open, that would have been a bit surprising, I think.
Pretty close to the Australian Open quarters as well this year.
Yeah. Lost the 5-setter to Rublev. Pretty tight match.
Just got a bit out hit, but like it was a match. It was a match for sure. Sure, it's surprising, especially considering the French came first. The French coming earlier than Australia. That's the main surprise about it, because like obviously the other 3 slams he's definitely fine to perform well at.
Okay, so a little bit of a game here from 30 love to 30 all double fault. A good point from Samsonova before that with a nice backhand volley.
I don't think it was 30 love. It was 15 all, right?
Oh. Yeah, you might be right, actually.
Yeah, I think the nice rally that Samsonova won was for 15 all. And does Swiatek find this line as well? I guess she did. I mean, this one is maybe a little less impressive. Like there's definitely an element of luck involved, but that's fine.
That was Red Wanska levels of crouching right there for that backhand. Look at this. Oh, just like steering it out of the way.
I'm not surprised Samsonova, like right away when it bounced, Samsonova is just looking at the umpire, she's like not even, she's already thinking, is it in? Because even though she was super close to it. But, well, anyway, it gives Swiatek that game point, and let's see if she can clinch the 6-4 free love lead.
Yeah.
Well, she can. The second serve return is into the net from Samsonova, so 6-4 free love so far, really, really good. Ooh, that's some very unexpected picks for me, Keen. I guess Lestienne, if he loses, it's going to be a bit of a story for sure. Didn't they play Lestienne, Guimard, Weyenburg like 2 years ago during this also like French summer hardcourt swing? I think so, maybe. But yeah, Lestienne, of course, really needs some points right now and needs to start doing what he did last year, which is, well, suck for 8 months and then win 3 challenges in a row, basically, or like in close succession. And Dam Purceladze, I like that. I don't know how fit Dam is, but that's also a good one But of course, yeah, I mean, you can go so many different ways tomorrow on the Challenger Tour with the 6 events. That's for sure. Why the hell they don't start night session 3-4 hours earlier? Why people have to work this much in the middle of the night? It's just insanity
it would
how
be.
much they hurt people.
Hang on a second. He's just thinking about his time zone there,
I
right?
think so, yeah, because like in
Well,
the
if
United
it's
States,
5 hours earlier, it'd be an afternoon session.
Pretty
I mean,
normal.
it'd be 3 p.m.
I would
right?
be in favor of moving it to like 6 though, but maybe 6
yeah,
is too
I
early
wouldn't
for-
mind like 6 p.m. start for an
Okay.
evening session. They call it the evening session anyway, rather
Yeah.
than night.
I know in Indian Wells they have it at 6. US Open likes to do 7. But
6 would be good, just make things a bit smoother, move everything by 1 hour. But which player do you think most needs a coaching change? Is the answer Coco Gauff? Hubert Hurkacz, I think, and he actually is getting one. I mean, we'll see how.
I was
long
thinking
it takes.
Hubie because he doesn't have.
But
to
he
work
is getting one, so
yeah.
I mean,
But someone needs one right now.
we'll see how long it takes him. I mean, it's not obvious that he's gonna have someone right away. But yeah,
Stefanos
Hurkacz
Tsitsipas.
kinda need- Oh,
Stefanos
Tsitsipas,
Tsitsipas
yeah.
needs- he needs
That's
one.
the most. That's the
Yeah.
most obvious answer. Rune as well, maybe if we think that he's still working with
Yeah, Rune as well.
Patrick.
Rybakina, yeah. Mother Rybakina, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if she needed it. It kind of depends also on what is gonna come out and everything in the next few days, right?
Yeah.
Or soon, or
By the way,
whatever it
Coco
is.
did say in her press conference yesterday that she's not sure what she's going to play next, and how much she wants to play in the fall. So
Yeah.
and she
So I
said
think
she
with
really needs
Rybakina,
a
we just
training
don't really know the full scope of things right now. Like, what exactly is the reason that she isn't working with Vukov, sorry, Vukic, yeah, Alexander
Yeah,
Vukic should be her
I
coach.
do that all the time. Like, all the time.
There's also this Polish-Serbian footballer and now coach Vukovic, and I mix these three up a lot.
This match is what's it? 5 games in a row, maybe 4, maybe even 6. She was 4-3 down, wasn't she? Or was she? No, she was serving first, wasn't she?
Yeah,
So she
I think 4-0 to this. So
Yeah.
5-0. We'll see if it can be 6 here because it's
5 in a row, and we're kind of drifting towards 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
This time a bit of a different sort of like landscape and the situation in the set, and Swiatek goes for more on that second serve return of 30, but I mean, it's not as important this game as it was in the 4-5 one, even though it's pretty much the same return, pretty much the same serve, but yeah, 4-5 and 5-4 and free love definitely changed things up a bit. And now it seems like Samsonova is a little off the boil.
Yeah. A lot of errors now creeping in, and it's 15-40.
She kept her focus long enough, and
I mean,
something
it was there for 8 games, yeah, and it's until 4-all. It was like very even, but
I think it was also more or less there in the first 2 games of this set, but that was probably the best game that Iga played. That second game of the second set, yeah, and then it's kind of
the tennis that she found in that game is definitely up there. Like that's the you're saying like the best game she's played this tournament. That would probably be the one.
Yeah, I mean that's the U.S. Open winning level, really, and if she can access that more as the week goes on, we'll see. But
speaking of which, I was going to ask you this yesterday, but what was your best match of week 1 so far? Like, which match did you enjoy watching the most on the men's and women's?
I will look at the draws and then I'll tell you.
I don't know. For me, I really enjoyed the Shelton Tiafoe one.
Yeah, that's the obvious one, right?
I did think it delivered in terms of quality and
sure.
type, and it was a fun match.
It was. I think it was way more fun from your perspective as well. Like that sort of very like, yeah, I root for all the Americans, and kind of Americans tended
I don't know
to
if I
maybe,
for like I
yeah,
mean
but like
yeah.
Americans tended
I
to
just
make
find
that
the
much
Americans
much
right
bigger
now
than
that
it
just
was, you know.
I find the
Like,
American players right now to just be a lot more rootable, you know? Like I don't know, like if you had
okay,
talked to me like maybe
so like it's
maybe
it's
10
because
years
of
ago.
the current bunch rather than in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just sort of like how they're pushing each other. Like I wouldn't have said this about like Sam Querrey and John Isner and Steve Johnson. Like that era was just not, you know, in terms of watchability, those guys weren't it.
I think I liked all of them a little more, like in terms of watchability. Actually, I
I
really
think
enjoyed Query Johnson.
look no I mean like at some points they did, but it kind of depended on their opponent, and it kind of depended on like they had moments in their career for sure, but it wasn't like now I mean these guys are like more well-rounded from the baseline in terms of their forehand and backhand, and like just the style that they bring. It's less serve and forehand oriented.
Yeah, so
Like,
I'm just looking at the draw basically, and like on the men's, it's clearly Shelton Tiafoe so far. It was fun to watch the last set of Evans Khachanov, but I can't say I watched that match in its entirety or anything
No.
like that. But yeah, Shelton Tiafoe would be kind of the, you know, the easy, obvious, but also the correct pick in terms of that, even for someone who maybe wasn't like as invested in the match as most people were, I guess.
Yeah.
And
people were
women,
raving last night about Zheng and Vekic, but unfortunately I couldn't watch it. I enjoyed Osaka against Mukova a lot. I know it was straight sets, but I still thought that was a lot of fun. And I only saw bits of Navarro Goff, but those are sort of some of the matches that sort of spring to mind for me.
Yeah,
but yeah, people were
Mukova
raving
was good.
about
Even
raving
though it
about
didn't go
Zheng.
3. It
Say
doesn't
again,
have to go 3 for it to be good. So.
Yeah, true. Oh, Samsonova might hold here.
Timinor, by the way, broke for 4-3. He was down a break. 3-1. So.
Oh, we lost.
Yes, yeah.
Daniel
No, I mean Schwartzman 2019 to 2020 was fun. Like he was a fun watch for me.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the win over Nadal in Rome, to some
Yeah.
extent, the final against Novak, I think that was a fairly competitive final.
I liked their US Open match, their Australian Open match. Like there were some good Nadal Schwartzman matches there. The Rome match actually wasn't that competitive, honestly.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Which is crazy, but
yeah, it is crazy. Yeah. Just trying to think about that Rome final. I did watch it against Schwartzman. Rome 2020, I think it was, wasn't it? Would have been like October, wasn't it? Okay, so it was 2
there
sets.
was a period where he was playing really competitive matches with Djokovic, Team, and Nadal, like in that stretch.
Yeah.
So that's when I enjoyed
beat Team in 5 sets. That was a good match, wasn't it? The French.
Yeah.
It was exciting. I enjoyed that. That was the same day, I think, that Nadal beat Sinner in straights, but that was sort of Sinner was maybe up a break for most of that, or for certainly important parts of the first set. And I think maybe Nadal broke back as Sinner was serving for it. I mean, of course, I think Keane is suggesting that his style, rather than necessarily the closeness of this, wasn't so much fun. Nerland has a very funny tweet, by the way, and this is probably more aimed at Nerland than you, Vanch. That tweet that you have on your page of Manchester United in the title race is very funny. Okay, anyway, is Samsonova going to hold? Well, she's going to have to save another break point, it looks like, here at Love 3.
Yeah, she does save it here. Iga is going for the forehand pass, and she just misses that. So she's still alive. Funny comment here from Snehal.
Yeah, yeah. There was somebody else who had a funny sponsor earlier this year, and I noticed it on their shirt. It might have been Lulu's son. Who was she sponsored by, and why was it funny? I think it was Lulu Sun at Wimbledon this year. She had a very amusing sponsor on her shirt. It was like something very ironic.
It wasn't Lululemon, was it? No.
She had Astonish was one of her sponsors, and I can't even remember why that was particularly amusing. Because there was the word astonish was used by.
Oh, is it the Judy Murray thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Judy Murray and Raducanu.
And she knocked out, and of course she knocked out
Raducanu,
Raducanu. Yeah, so there was this whole sort of three thing going on. If you like, there she's got astonishment on her shirt,
and there's
which
a
I then
double
had to
fact.
look up. It just got funnier, by the way, because they make like cleaning products or something. So yeah, and then I started reading about some of the products. I think I was on a stream with Tom, and yeah, and it was like there was some very funny descriptions, like, you know, this will wash away all your troubles or something, you know, from your clothes. Yeah, Astonish Cleaning, home of the Great British Sparkle. So then, of course, you're thinking about maybe Raducanu and stuff. A family company which offers cruelty-free and vegan cleaning. Anyway, yeah.
Thompson, by the way, just broke for 4-0, and Iga is about to close in on this match.
Iga's gone up 4-love, actually, yeah. Oh, so Thompson was a break down, was he? Because he was a break up in this set.
Yeah, no, he was up 3-1, and then he got broken back. And then de Minaur broke for 4-3, and then he got broken back. So they're on serve now at 4-0.
No such bumps in the road for Iga, as you say, 4-love. So that's 6 games in a row. There's a lot been said, and it has been mentioned by Damien about the grittiness of Iga's run. That's a terrible slice there from Thompson. And it's true that 2022 run was probably less smooth and less flamboyant than some of her French Open runs. But the win over Sabalenka, for me, was one of the best matches of 2022. Maybe I'm biased because I was in the stadium for that particular encounter, but I thought the quality was pretty high. You might call it a choke from Sabalenka. I'd have to probably watch that third set again to decide.
I think Sabalenka's had a few chokes at the end of tournaments, but I don't know if that one was. I thought Iga played really good from 4-2 down in the
Yeah,
third.
exactly.
16 of the last 20 points. Like, she forced a lot of errors.
Yeah.
The one against Fernandez was definitely a choke the year before. Like, Sabalenka should not have lost that third set. That one for me is like the one that got away in terms of US Open like chances.
More than Coco last year?
Oh yeah, and then I would say Coco last year, the way her game like just fell apart. She was in control of that match.
Yeah.
You know, even had break points at the start of the second set, like dominated the first set. But like those leads at the end of the third, those leads like against Fernandez, and then the first set, how she like choked that one. Of course, there was also the Mukova match last year at Roland Garros where Sabalenka should have been in the final. Okay. So de Minaur has a couple of breakpoints to serve for this match now. Spin up a break once before. Yeah. So Iga does hold. So it's 5-love. This kind of reminds me of the Indian Wells final right now against Sakari, where it was like competitive for 8 games, and you're like, wow, we have a match, until we don't. So it's kind of been the story here. As yeah, John has disappeared. I guess his internet is out right now. So is Damien.
Vanch for Manny on his own. I do apologize, Vanch.
You're back.
Yeah, just an internet sort of moment, if you like.
Yeah, did I miss anything in terms of Swiatek held for 5-love.
Yeah. Thompson still hanging in there somehow. So it's deuce at 4-all.
Deuce at
like
4
hoping to make-
on Thompson's serve?
Yeah.
Yes, on Thompson's serve, yeah. Yeah, the crowd will be pretty keen for a 5th set there, that's for sure. Just because it's still quite early in New York and they haven't seen a huge amount of tennis today.
Yeah. Arthur Ashe Stadium matches so far have been, I mean, I guess we had the Armstrong, we had Haddad, Maya, and Wozniacki, which was, competitive. But Arthur Ashe matches have not been memorable at all today.
Yeah.
So they're hoping that Sinner versus Paul is going to be competitive.
The main court is always the most overpriced and the most useless at slams, and that's kind of how it's been here as well. Yeah, I mean, honestly, by the way, I mean, I'm back and I didn't even have internet on my phone, so I couldn't even text you or anything. Maybe the provider for me just kind of thinks that 2:30 a.m., who is using the internet in Poland? But they failed to consider that there are also tennis fans, and tennis fans just don't get to sleep at all. Tennis fans have to watch tennis 24 hours a day. And they just barely nap, sometimes. If there's a boring match, they just can nap sometimes, but that's it. Sinner Paul, I probably won't stay up, honestly. I have very low expectations regarding that match. So,
you think it's going to be a washout for Sinner? Like a comfortable win?
I don't think it's going to be interesting at all.
I think Tommy can win a set. I feel like he can win one set. I don't know past that.
And yeah, if he does win one set, do I want to spend 3 hours watching that? No, I don't.
No, I think I think you'll be okay sleeping.
Yeah, I mean, even if Tommy wins, honestly, I'll wake up and I'll be like, okay, and that's it. I really don't care. However, there are some matches early in the morning in China that I would like to watch for sure. So maybe that's gonna be a good trade-off,
Tommy Paul's
but yeah, I see that while I was
Eastern.
gone, Samsonova didn't take that 4th game, which is kind of, well.
Yeah, I know.
I actually thought that just before I left, just before my internet died, because again, I didn't even have it on my phone, so I couldn't check the score. I thought she was close to taking the 4th game somehow, but yeah, I guess I was mistaken.
Yeah, she had a game point, but...
Oh, okay. So yeah, I wasn't just delirious, okay.
Please tell me that, and this is nothing against Maria, but please tell me she's leaving the top 10 after the US Open.
Probably after Guadalajara.
She lost first round and lost first round again, so she doesn't.
Guadalajara is what you have to wait for.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But I mean, there was that moment in the spring, right, when she was making it work, and I think you were actually pretty optimistic regarding.
Oh, I was. Yeah.
No, Indian Wells and Miami were great for her. Both those tournaments were good. Play season kind of, the French Open was disappointing because
and the season as a whole was in the end the results were underwhelming, but I thought the performances in Madrid looked pretty good for the first couple of matches, but I think I remember seeing a beat Vekic there, for example, but yeah.
Thompson, by the way, really trying to get this to a 5th here. Wins this really good point on the defense. In the 10th game, he did hold for 5-4. He saved 2 break points.
You know what I'm afraid of with Jordan Thompson? If he pulls it off today, I'm afraid of the Nakashima match at Wimbledon, where it's great. I mean, he's made so much progress. He's got into a great. He's got into so far in a Grand Slam, and he kind of just runs into someone and just gets demolished. I think it will happen at some point if he keeps going in the event.
Yeah.
Of course, no, Alex de Minaur isn't going to do it to him, but Jack Draper,
he could,
and that would be another unseeded player for Jack. By the way,
Draper will get to the semifinals. It is wild to think that Draper would get to the semifinals.
Thompson is actually the highest ranked unseeded player, but yeah, I mean, it would be wild.
That's crazy. I mean, you had Sinner doing that until the semifinals of Wimbledon last year, but then he met Djokovic, and then it was like, okay, big step up.
Yeah.
But this would be different.
I mean, he also met the GOAT Quentin Alice in the third round.
Nah.
I mean, at Wimbledon, that was like as tough as it gets, really, in that third round back then. Alice was just goating at Wimbledon last year. More so even than this year.
Okay, so Samsonova avoids getting bageled.
Vance just decides not to pursue this because, well, he knows he's not going to convince me when it comes to Quentin is goating on grass. But I also didn't really want to pursue it.
I don't remember who did he beat before that, like at Wimbledon. I don't
remember either. But wasn't it Dan Evans in the first round? I think it was. He was really peaking, and like just looked unplayable. Basically, won the first set against Sinner, I think, and after that it kind of ended. But yeah, I think that third round was really tough. Yeah, Dan Evans and then Alexander Vukic was the two first opponents of Alice there.
So was that the third round that he played Sinner?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Interesting stat on my screen. Returns in play against the first serve, which after the first set has gone up from 59 to 88% for Iga. Of course, it's just 3 games compared to 5, but that's still pretty telling. For Samsonova, it's gone down a bit. In the first set, she was putting a lot more first serve returns in play than Iga. Now it's the other way around, which, I mean, that's also another one of the reasons why the second set is as it is, really.
Has Iga ever really had a double break advantage and collapse from a setup or even a double break in the third?
Yeah, that's happened.
Gracheva in Cincinnati, for example.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, 6-love, 5-2. And then lost that set in the tiebreak.
And lost the match.
She played that match against
she didn't lose the match.
That's my point. Yeah, so
I mean, she had a 6-love 5-2 40-15 lead, and she lost the set in a tiebreak.
I mean, she had a set and a breakup on Mukova in the French Open, and then she ends up being a breakdown in the third, 4-3. But she wins the match. So I'm just trying to think of a time when she was. I'm trying to think of it like a serious choke, even.
She's barely losing matches, so it's kind of tough to find it, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't think she's ever like really choked. Like she doesn't have like that Carlos Alcaraz like 5-love up in Paris.
I mean, she choked the entire match against Zheng at the Olympics.
Fine. The entire match. Yeah. Fine.
But yeah, I know it's not a lead, but yeah.
4-love up in the second set.
Oh yeah, and that's a good example actually as well.
Yeah.
I knew it happened recently that she had like a 4-love lead somewhere, but I couldn't place it. Yeah. Of course, the second set against Vekic, yeah. Vekic, Zheng. But yeah, otherwise, I'm kind of struggling to come up with an example of that. It's also kind of connected to the fact
that
that
4-2. She did lead Pegula 4-2 in the third last year in Canada.
Goff, yeah. No, Pegula. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Pegula,
that was after the
right.
Cottoneye Joe thing, and she won the tiebreak. It was up
4-2, and then she plays 4 horrible games. I think that's as close as we can get. Really.
No, honestly, and now I'm thinking maybe she wins that Canada Masters. She plays like tired Samsonova in the final. I mean, yeah.
Anyone beats Samsonova on the day, it seems, with the way that she played. Of course, not really her fault, but
yeah. All right, we have match point here. 40-30.
okay. not that smooth yet. Trying to take that backhand down the line, and she's mistiming it, but there's still time.
No. Ace down the tee. Is that her third ace of the match? Yeah, it is. She hit 2 in the first set.
Mm.
Well, no rushing this time. There's a net cord. She puts her in control. Forehand volley could have been better, though.
Mm.
I don't think Samsonova makes the pass.
Samsonova missed the pass, though. Wasn't the best
Yeah,
volley. Could have been way
pretty
better.
close. Certainly wasn't the best volley. Certainly wasn't the best approach. But she manages to get it done. And in the end, I mean, we still kind of have to call it a relatively routine victory.
Yeah.
Could have been much more tricky, though. The first 8 games, really, really good performance from Samsonova. But Swiatek just locked in from start to finish, and things kind of unraveled after that one poor game that the Russian had at 4-5.
Yeah. Well, so that is 90 minutes for Iga. And she plays Pegula just like she did in the 2022 US Open quarterfinal. So,
and the 2022 Roland Garros quarterfinal. So yeah, she would be responsible for 3 out of 7 of Jessie's Grand Slam quarterfinal losses for the male Andrei Rublev, if you may. Do we watch the Minor Thompson, the 4th set at least, and then see what happens?
Yeah, but can we just do a couple of minutes on?
Oh, of course we will. Of course we will. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it looks promising for her. Honestly, I think she's gonna have a very tough set of opponents from here. Pegula may be the best chance that we kind of have for a very competitive, high quality match.
I expect the Pegula match to be very competitive.
Yeah.
Just the way that Pegula has been playing, the way she kind of likes these conditions, medium to fast, and the way she can also hang with Iga and break serve a lot, and just the confidence that she has from having won all those matches. I expect it to be a tight battle.
I like how Pegula just kind of took herself from a mediocre season, no expectations really going into the North American hardcourt swing, and suddenly she's in better form than she was last year when we were thinking like, is she gonna win the US Open? Like, is it actually possible? And suddenly she's even better this year.
2 metrics that Samsonova won today. One was that she won more points on second serve than Iga. And they did have a bit relatively similar, like 20 second serves for Iga and 22 for Samsonova. And the other one was distance covered, which is not the metric you want to be winning in pretty much.
You don't want to win that stint if you're
probably read fewer books today as well. I don't know.
Say again, what?
Read fewer books.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but then that's a metric there for the Iga one, I guess. If you want to read,
I guess probably that would be a green number would be on the Iga side. Yeah.
But there's one thing I want to highlight, which is 88% of points won on first serve from Iga. That may have been Samsonova erring, I don't know, but it is something that's been sort of highlighted at various points this year, that the Iga serve was something that she adjusted over the winter, and people were very quick to jump on it in Australia, going, I wish she hadn't, made these adjustments because it's not working. In fact, it's got worse. Well, 88% of first serve points won. Is this an area of the game that Iga has taken a step forward in 2024? Either of you can answer that.
I think she's been serving, like, in terms of the pace. She's serving maybe on average 5 to 10 miles per hour faster. So she is like maybe hitting more effective body serves. It is more kind of the motion itself. Like at first when I saw it in Australia, I was a little more critical of it, but I think in the play season it actually paid dividends. Like the match against Sabalenka in Madrid, and some big points, she was getting free points on the first serve. in some matches, but also like the way that she's been. It's also a stat that really shows like how well she backs it up. I don't think it's the serve itself, but also the +1, also the like, the error she was getting from Samsonova in the baseline rallies in the second set makes it maybe that one-sided. But yeah, I think
it's a very gradual change, definitely. Like, there's never been a moment where like you're, oh yeah, this is completely different now after about a month. So maybe it's not that noticeable generally, but I do think she's serving better for sure.
The one against Coco Gauff, right? She was hitting like her average for serve speed was pretty high in Roland Garros.
I mean, she can beat Coco Gauff serving at 60% pace, but generally, like in Cincinnati, it was helping her before the Sabalenka match, right? It's more of a question to me, like what happens in a match where that's not doing as much damage, where she's facing like a total like top tier opponent. Because in Cincinnati, she was also serving very well. It was kind of the saving grace at first for her event. Then she kind of gets into the rhythm, but of course, Sabalenka just destroys her on the day. But yeah, against Samsonova, probably not the most meaningful stat though, because Liudmila is just going to be trying to hit massive returns anyway of whatever is coming at her. So, but of course it was so important today because if Samsonova lands an early break in the first set, maybe we get a completely different match.
No break points ultimately, as competitive as those first 8 games were, and I think we did have a love 30 at one point. I think it was the Iga serve that got her out of trouble. And yeah, no break points, so Iga goes through. Shall we let's have a quick look at de Minaur Thompson, because de Minaur is serving for the match.
Yeah, broke on Thompson volley. I think that sailed long and wide, and now he's got the opportunity to serve for the match for the first time, obviously. First singles appearance since injuring his hip at Wimbledon. Only played the Olympics in the doubles. Would be awesome to get that quarterfinal. And just one more time proof he's made a pretty big step up this year.
Yeah. Has it been a sort of a 12-month step up? I
mean, it was leading to it in 2023, I think, yeah. He was already kind of in the touring conversation for a while, but it was like he has to get some big results, and he didn't at the end of the year. Now he's kind of more properly in it. I think today, if he wins, he's going to be 7th in the race. So, I mean, obviously he's in this. He just needs to keep playing the same stuff. And, well, also it's going to be his first big chance at a Grand Slam semi. If he is going to face Jack Draper in there, he has a pretty good record against him. But, well, double fault now at 15-0, so we're going to see. But, yeah, so far in quarters, he's played like what? Djokovic, obviously, he didn't actually play. I mean, he had kind of like no chance at Roland Garros, given, the surface and the opponent. And then I guess US Open. Yeah. And then US Open. Who did he play? Who did he play at the US Open when he played his first quarter? Was it like Felix or?
Team.
Oh, Team. Right. Yeah, it was Team. So, yeah, I guess this would be his first best chance, clearly. And he actually sets up a match point with an ace of 130 miles per hour. The all-Aussie battle, but only one can make it. I think Thompson was also one of the players who didn't drop a set before today, so now it's just Draper. And, well, de Minaur is into the quarterfinals. 3rd slam in a row. He also made the 4th round at the Australian Open, lost in 5 sets to Rublev. So really an awesome Grand Slam season. Can only get better from here, really. I mean, he's facing Jack Draper. It's a rare opportunity for both players, that's for sure. There's no Carlos Alcaraz in this quarter anymore, and he hasn't been here for the past many days. And de Minaur so far is the guy just taking advantage as well. The 3rd highest seed originally in this quarter. The 2nd was Hubert Hurkacz, but he was eliminated by his countryman friend Jordan Thompson.
So it's 3-0 for de Minaur in the head-to-head. Just trying to remember which one of these. There's been one a year over the last 3 years. It'll be the second meeting this year.
Yeah.
First
Wimbledon,
one coming.
Asia, and what's the third?
Acapulco this year, retirement from Jack.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's fair. But yeah, I mean,
let me-
all of these basically had Jack like struggle with his fitness, especially the last two. Wimbledon maybe not as much, but he kind of struggled to hit through ADM. Like it was 4 sets, but it wasn't actually as close as I think we were expecting it to be at the time. Whereas, yeah, the Chinese match, or sorry, in Japanese match, I think it was in Tokyo, that was kind of just where Jack was outplaying him for a long part of that match, but just couldn't get over the line with the cramping and stuff.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. I think he served for the match there, right, in Tokyo.
Yeah, it was insane. It was like I was watching that at like 5 a.m. in the morning, so my memories are pretty blurry, but it was just an insane affair. And I don't know, maybe it still gives some hope to Jack. Obviously, as I said earlier today on one of the things we did, I don't remember if it was the Paulini one or probably it was the Dimitrov Tiafoe preview. But like at this stage of the event, really, it's tough to say that anyone is favored because they will both be super nervous and really excited to potentially get into that Grand Slam semi. Maybe even have an opponent they can beat there. I mean, we'll see. Sinner, of course, is someone that de Minaur would like to avoid. That's for sure.
Yeah, right. But yeah, it feels 50-50. I mean, if Jack just serves incredibly and can play as well as he has done so far this tournament, hell of a chance. But de Minaur, you would imagine, will make him work for it a lot more than any opponent he's faced so far.
I will be very interested to see what the sort of approach to the game is in general for Draper, because it was quoted many times during this summer that Wayne Ferreira is getting like some more aggression out of him, and now Ferreira is gone of the team. So I
Ferreira's
don't think
out of the Draper team. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they announced it like around Cincinnati or something like that. That basically Jack only wants one voice in the team. That Ferreira and Trotman was a little too much. So Ferreira is out of the team, and that's going to be quite interesting to see, like, if this is the mindset that Jack plays with or not. I mean, so far, I just don't feel like we haven't been able. I don't feel like we have been able to really observe anything like that because he just hasn't been pushed. Like the guy just hasn't had a match where he has to step up. And this is one where, yeah, I mean, it will happen. If Jack Draper makes the US Open semifinals without dropping a set, I will be very surprised, even though it's just one match coming up.
Have you got a thought on this in terms of, are you leaning one way or the other, Vanch?
I'm leaning de Minaur still.
Okay.
I think based on the matches that I've seen, like he looks pretty healthy and fit. And I feel like he can get the better of Jack, and if it goes 4-5, I definitely like de Minaur's chances more. So I would still pick him. I make him like a 60-40 favorite. But Jack has a good chance too.
60-40, yeah. I find it very difficult. I find it difficult to split them in terms of the favorite, and yet, one winning in straight sets, even Jack winning in straight sets, wouldn't make me fall off my chair, just because there could be a point when de Minaur runs out of steam, bearing in mind how little tennis he's played since Wimbledon. I think one doubles match was all he played between Wimbledon and coming into the US Open. That may help him, of course, in terms of other players that have been playing sort of non-stop, although I think there's that stat that, of course, all 3 medalists from the Olympics at least are all out. Musetti in the medal match, he beat for that bronze medal, Felix, of course. So he was out first round. Yeah, okay. Leaning de Minaur. Are you leaning one way or the other, Damien?
I'm just gonna shrug. I mean, saying de Minaur would be just so boring, to be honest. Like it's just kind of what you expect. It's I mean, my sort of usual gut and kind of wanting to see upsets happen, wanting to see stories happen, I kind of tend to lean towards Jack. He has the higher upside to me, even, which might be a little controversial for now. But
In his
yeah,
career, yeah.
I can only shrug. Really, I really don't know at all.
Okay, have we got time for a Pegula Swiatek preview? Vanch?
Yeah, I mean, we've already said things, right? That we expect it to be very competitive, and it might be one of the best matches we get out of that rivalry, given how Jessie is playing.
Yeah, I'm expecting it to be their most competitive match so far, like in terms of quality and yeah. I mean, Pegula definitely has a chance at beating Iga right now. The way that she's been playing, the kind of tennis that we know can trouble Iga. But at the same time, these last two matches have made me feel pretty good about Iga as well. The way she beats Pavlyuchenkova and Samsonova and similar type of opponents. But and we know Pegula hasn't won a slam quarterfinal, but she's played Iga twice, Barty once. The Vondrousova match is probably the one that got away for her. But I feel like this is she'll really come in confident and she'll like her chances. But I'm curious to see, is it a day match or a night match? Because
of course don't know yet, but
yeah, not sure.
What's gonna be the next? What's gonna be the other quarter? Haddad Maya against
Muchova. Yeah.
Muchova.
Yeah,
should be a night match then, I guess. Maybe
It'll
the
be
same,
night, yeah.
the same slot as today.
I actually think Knight helps Iga. Knight will still help Iga a little bit more. I think during the day the
Yeah.
ball will fly a little bit more. It's a bit faster, like in the sun. Pegula likes those conditions more.
Yeah, could
nighttime
be
now
could,
also
could
they
be the
played-
same slot as today, I think. And in fact, yeah, Jessie
Yeah.
in this matchup probably likes it faster. I mean, the way she played in Sydney, for example. Of course, there was also that that argument that like the Polish team had to fly over, change conditions, but still. And I still keep talking about this, by the way, but like there was, I don't remember who it was, and I don't want to like shame that person or anything, but I just remember like a month or so ago, before Montreal anyway, or before Toronto, that was for the women this year, someone on this stream like just posted a comment that like Pegula is surely losing round 3 at the US Open or something like that, but like Pegula is not a factor. And I just remember saying that like, yeah, but what if she does extremely well? And I don't think anyone like during the warm-ups, and like I don't think any one of us expected how well she would actually do, which is pretty much be the best player in there alongside Sabalenka.
Also, by the way, everyone's talking about like playing the Olympics. Like she also played the Olympics, and like I know she lost like in the round of 16, maybe in doubles, and didn't go that far in singles either. She lost to Svitolina, I think, in her second match. But still, like she played. She was there for quite a while, and she still comes back and wins Toronto, gets to the final of Cincy, gets to the quarters here without dropping a set. Like,
yeah.
it's pretty
Two
good.
of the 3 medalists on the women's side are still in the tournament as well, in the form of Iga and Zheng. So I think that the playing the Olympics is a small factor, but the level that Novak has played all year, for example, on the men's side, and the level that Carlos brought to the court the other day, as well as the level of Botic, those factors were at least as important, if not more important, than just playing the Olympics for me.
Yeah, but I mean,
was
that's kind of like ignoring the cause and effect, relationship, because like they brought you bring a level to the court for a reason, at least for the most part, right? I think we lost
think
your.
John is muted, or he's
Yeah, you're not muted, but maybe like battery or something like that. Yeah, no.
Yeah, but back to Iga and Jessica. Just one word of caution on the Jessica thing. Her run to the final in Canada, pretty good. I think she did drop a set to the final before she then wins the final. I thought the level against Anisimova was good, but wasn't sensational. And then she comes up against an absolute A-class player in the form of Aryna Sabalenka in the final in Cincinnati, and she gets beaten fairly comfortably.
Iga Swiatek got beaten even more comfortably by
I
Aryna
think people are
Sabalenka.
playing Sabalenka the toughest of anybody in the
She also
that
was
tournament.
going for back-to-back titles, right? I
which
mean,
hasn't been done in
in
over
2023, it
15
didn't go well for her at all, right? She won Canada and then lost early in Cincy. I don't remember to whom even.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think it was against Trevisan. Ghost
Really?
favorite. Yeah. No, wait,
No.
was it? I think it might have been.
Really? She lost to Trevisan at 2023 Cincy, and we were still thinking of her as one of the main US Open contenders, and that's kind of what I was going for earlier as well.
Oh
Like
no
she's
no no
actually
no no
better
no!
than
I'm off there. She beat
was like
Trevisan in 3.
Dolchait
But
or
it was
no?
really tight. Like she almost lost to Trevisan.
So who was
Like,
it?
it was not convincing. It was against Bushkova.
Buskova.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, but still, like not it was like 6-4 6-0 against Bushkova.
Yeah, like she actually did so much better in following up her Canada results. And I understand the A-class player argument, but like Swiatek was dominated even more by Sabalenka. So
she also beat Muchova early in that tournament, and she was down a set in that match and a tight second set as well. So
yeah, at that point was definitely more surviving than anything else. Yeah.
I'm not as big on Pegula's chances as maybe you both are.
the upset?
I think Iga wins this in straights, and yeah, that's how I see it. I think that the night factor, if it is a night match, I think the slower court conditions at least will favor her. We remember one of Pegula's 3 wins at least coming in Sydney super quick. I think the roof may have been closed there in Sydney for that match. I think the quarterfinal factor, I don't think it's as big a factor as some may make out with both her and, of course, Andrei Rublev. It's more often than not the quality of the opponent they come up against, with the odd exception in Pegula's case, for example, the Wimbledon quarterfinal against perhaps Vondrousova. But again, this is the quality of the opponent, and we are now talking about the elite, the 2 favorites for this tournament. Obviously, Sabalenka on the other side of the draw and Iga on this side. I think it's going to be difficult. I predicted a Swiatek Sabalenka final, and there's nothing I've seen in the last 10 days that's led me to change my mind, and that includes, the form of Jessica Pegula as well.
One is not like the other. I mean, Sabalenka is a bit, I think. Well, I mean, obviously she can just have a horrible match somewhere where Swiatek probably won't really. Like, her floor is much higher. But I don't know. I think Sabalenka still has a better chance to make the finals. And that's also because of the opponents that Swiatek will face. Yeah, Pegula, Muchova. Muchova, someone who can take a lot of arguments from her. She's going to beat Haleph Maya. She's going to beat Haleph Maya.
Yeah, I think she's going to beat Haleph Maya as well. Like
Muchova is in the semis, and Badosa is in the semis, and Sabalenka is in the semis. Swiatek is tentatively in the semis.
Yeah.
Yes, so Badosa, Navarro, yeah, I'm not so sure that Badosa's in the
I'm not so sure either.
I just had to quickly have a quick look. Yeah, so
I just had her in my semis, so I'm like, sure.
I also did 2 pre-tournament.
At least this has to go in, right? Like Hechka didn't, Osaka didn't. This has to go in.
I'm also thinking of the match that Navarro played after she beat Coco at Wimbledon, which was just, she got destroyed by Paolini.
Absolutely horrible in that Wimbledon quarterfinal, yeah.
And so
she did not do herself justice with that performance, no.
Yeah, I would go Swiatek, Muchova, Sabalenka. And you know what? I think I might go Navarro, but it is 50-50, that one. That's the hardest one for me.
We'll go Badosa for the Navarro match.
I went
favorite for me.
Okay. I went Osaka at the beginning of the tournament to make the semis, which kind of looked a bit funny at the time, but also maybe doesn't. I know it's on a different
It's not. She wins against Muchova, she makes the semis, I think.
Yeah.
And
that defeat is aged well. I thought it might. I hoped it might as well for Naomi's sake, as well as Muchova's. But when she puts the drive volley at the end of the match,
does she make the semis though? She beats.
Not necessarily, but
I mean, she beats
Muchova.
I don't know.
Paolini. I think she beats Haleph Maya.
I think so, yeah. I mean, Muchova just basically took over everything I imagined for Naomi in this event. Maybe I was stupid to kind of ignore Muchova.
No, I
but
can see that
well,
actually.
not much was really like suggesting that she would play like this, even though she has, all that talent, all that repertoire. But yeah, I mean, Muchova just literally took over for Osaka, I think, in how I imagined that quarter going.
By the way, we talked about easy runs potentially for Jack Draper, of course, to the quarterfinals and maybe even beyond. But Dossa's run, not bad, right? Not quite handpicked, but
I mean, Russo was really tough in the third round.
yeah, but
Townsend as well.
And Townsend has been playing good all summer. She got to the quarters of Toronto, and she's been,
But I
she's
mean, we
like-
kind of knew that already, right? That Badosa
Yeah.
was not gonna have a tough run. Like
Wong,
Azarenka,
even Wong beat
would
her.
Azarenka really beat her or like have a chance at beating her in the fourth round? I don't think so. It probably would have
not.
been tougher than against Yafan Wang. Krejcikova, it depends. I mean, Vansh is a big fan, so probably he thought that Krejcikova.
No, I
could have
didn't.
a
I
good
didn't
shot.
actually. I had her losing. I had her getting to Badosa and then losing. I think.
Yeah, I think I did
was more
too, but
confident
I
in-
felt very confident in Paula being the better player there. So I don't know. I think we kind of knew that she was probably going to have a pretty easy run. But then again, I mean, Townsend and also Rusa was like straight up out talenting her in that match. So I don't know. I mean, Rusa looked like a. I don't want to give you the number, but like, yeah, she looked insane, really.
A real turnaround for Badosa in the last few weeks, right? Compared to where we were before that.
Yeah, she keeps saying that as well, right? About the
Since Rome,
back.
she's been a different player to me, I would say.
Yeah, it was Rome
That's
a
the
year
one I would
before where
point to.
her back sort of first flared up, actually. And it was also 3, 4, 5 months ago, so not a long time ago, when she was sort of saying things like, this is an injury I'm just going to have to manage for the rest of my career. It was like, oh, wow. Are we looking at a situation?
She's still like kind of, there's some days that she was saying in DC, there's some days where I wake up and it's like, it's not in good shape.
And she's surprised with it, right? That right now she's able to play at this level, but well, she is,
Right.
and yeah, as I think we've said many times, basically since maybe around even like March last year or something like that. Anytime we get her fit enough to play, she's been top 10ish or something like that, and that's where the ELO rankings put her as well. And I don't think it's wrong at all.
Yeah. I think if she wins, she'll be like 11th in the race, which is like, that feels right.
Okay.
If she beats Navarro. She's already top 20 in the rankings, and she was like 100 before the Australian Open. So.
Okay. And Navarro, we are giving her, I mean, I'm giving her a very good chance. Why don't you think Navarro can win this particular encounter, Vanch?
No, I definitely give her a chance. It's like, it's a pretty close match. I'm picking Badosa based on just more confidence, recent form. I think Navarro, like, she's looked good so far, but I think Badosa's ceiling is higher, and if she hits that ceiling, I think she could outplay Navarro.
Fair enough. Can Qinwen Zheng provide a different result to Australia, Damien, against Sabalenka?
My expectations aren't super high. I mean, we've seen in both the US Open last year and Australia how that matchup looks on quicker courts. I don't really know what Qinwen can do about it. Obviously, she's playing with a lot of confidence right now. I just don't know if that confidence really counts for much. If Arena is basically just hitting a big, deep, heavy ball of both wings and not allowing Qinwen to play her game. Like, I think Qinwen needs some degree of space, at least, to play her best tennis. And of course, she can get that on clay. Of course, she can get that in like slower and slower hard courts. But yeah, my expectations aren't super high. I hope to be wrong. I hope it's a cracker because, well, this literally is two of the best players of the season. But yeah, I don't know. And that's an interesting question as well from Swarna. Who do you think will qualify for the WTA finals? Just kind of popped up the list, and like if Rybakina doesn't play, for example, then I think the top 8 is like pretty clear, unless we have Badosa or Muchova winning this slam. So like Swiatek, Sabalenka, of course, are already in. Paolini will obviously make it. I think Goff will obviously make it. Pegula looks like she's obviously gonna make it. And after that, right now we have Navarro, Collins, and Zheng. And if no one wins like a WTA 1000 out of nowhere or this slam out of nowhere, then that's probably going to be the list pretty much. and like
Krejcikova
Navarro,
doesn't
Collins, Jane.
make
Wait,
it
actually,
off
Krejcikova is going to be in no matter what
base.
because she won Wimbledon.
That's not a thing on the WTA.
Not yet.
No. I thought they changed it this year. That
They
it
have
is.
changed it, but is it this year or next year they're changing it for?
Oh, they changed it.
No, I think they
Yeah.
changed it. They changed it, so it's basically you're gonna have to look at the top 7 now.
Oh.
And I think we may see a fall from Collins now. I in terms of what tournament she plays.
Yeah.
She
I
might
mean, in
even
terms of what she plays, yeah, that's kind of the
Yeah,
most interesting, important thing here.
Yeah. So then it's sort of Navarro versus Zhang, really, and of course they're both in quarterfinal action.
Yeah,
So
I do think it's still pretty. Like, there's some players.
Yeah,
in
that's
the,
true. They changed it already. Okay.
yeah,
like 11 through 16 range, like Ostapenko to Schneider, that have an outside chance. Maybe
Ostapenko's
they'd have to
4.
win.
I mean, they'd have to win 1,000. Like that's
Yeah.
kind of the only way you can
There's
do it,
two
right?
1,000 still left to play. So
There is, yeah.
500s.
I mean, Caro Garcia in 2017 wins both Wuhan and Beijing, right? And kind of makes the
Yeah.
WTA finals through the back door. Like that's possible. That's something that someone like Kalinskaya could do, for example. maybe not.
Or Badosa,
Yeah,
maybe.
I don't know about
see.
but
Yeah, I don't see Ostapenko or Kazakhstan.
Madison Keys.
Mira
don't know.
Andreeva? No.
No,
Where's
probably
Mira
not.
Andreeva? Is she like 20 right now? Okay, yeah, so she's a little
Around, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I failed to realize that they changed that rule. So I guess Krejcikova should like this unless there's a slam champion this time. Like, for example, let's imagine that Beatriz Haddad-Maia wins the slam and then she's not going to make it into the top 8. And then
it gets
maybe
squeezed
she
in
takes
more.
Krejcikova's spot.
Yeah.
We would have to see. But yeah, I guess Krejcikova indeed has a pretty good situation. So that takes out a spot from somebody, and it could be could be Collins. It's pretty
Yeah.
wild that Kinven is not like secured, but I mean, yeah, other than the Australian Open final and the Olympics, the season
no points
hasn't
for the
been that
Olympics
amazing
anyways.
for her, right?
Yeah.
And no
Zhao-
points for the Olympics, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, and Zhao also highlighting quite a lot of 500s because, quite a lot
So
of
I agree
500s.
that Sabalenka is a big favorite against Zhang, but I will say that Zhang has been doing something a little bit better this tournament, which she's like going back on the return, like giving herself a bit more time, and seemed to work sometimes against when Vekic was serving really big yesterday. I know Sabalenka is just a different level of power off both wings than Vekic, and it's
Heaviness
like
as well.
heavier. Like it's going to be hard to combat. But I'd like to see some progress. Like she won 5 games at the U.S. Open and 5 games at the Australian Open. Maybe there'll be tighter sets this time. Like maybe I'm hoping to see a little more progression. Let's say.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
a more competitive match.
That's very plausible. That is very, very plausible. So our 4 semi-finalists, well, mine will be Swiatek, Mukova. I think we're agreeing on 3 of the 4, right? Swiatek, Mukova, Sabalenka, right?
Yeah.
And I think I'll go Navarro against Badosa. Not with any great confidence, but I'll go Navarro against Badosa just to be different, and you can both have Badosa.
As I said, I cannot be objective on this one. Not that I'm even like a huge Badosa fan or anything, but I kind of got into this run based on that semi-final peak from before the event. And now I'm just like, I literally cannot right now think objectively about this.
If that was Osaka there, also, of course, Osaka against Mukova,
Yeah.
for example.
I also pre-tournament had Badosa, so I don't feel like changing that right now. I don't think I've seen enough to go the other way.
I'm not actually judging this analytically or objectively. I'm just kind of like, Badosa, let's go. It would be the same if Lehechka played Djokovic in the quarters.
Lehechka, was one of your semi-finals.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I'm just trying to remember who I had in my semis. I'm gonna find it very quickly now because I've got to download.
When I saw that he went 5 with Mitchell Kruger, I was like, oh, this is not going to happen for him.
Right. But he then won a couple of matches, didn't he? I think he went out 3rd or 4th round, didn't he?
He lost to Rublev. But that's the match that we both had him beating Rublev when we did our preview.
Third round, and he got outplayed like completely. But at least he wasn't like in the second round against Mitch. It wasn't like that sort of low energy and kind of just completely random performance. 11 games in a row lost and stuff.
So I forgot that I had Emma Navarro in my semi-finals.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, that makes sense because,
Yeah.
well, most of us were picking Goff to lose early, so it had to be either Badosa or Navarro really in semis, right?
I would imagine I had her beating Goff Navarro in my bracket. Yeah.
I didn't even have Goff getting to Navarro. I had Svitolina beating her, and Svitolina played a very bad third set. Otherwise, I don't even think that was a bad pick.
Did she show that, by the way, Joao? Remember Stuttgart, for example? Like, that was a good match between Badosa and Sabalenka. Of course, it ends in a retirement, but
I have 6 of the 8
Stuttgart
quarterfinals.
was really close. That's true.
I just had Kalinskaya against Osaka rather than had Maya against Mukova. But I had.
I think I might have had Kalinskaya as well.
To the quarters. Did anybody have Haddad Maya going this far?
Of course not.
I mean, that's also the section that Rybakina was in, so there was,
Haddad Maya had like a tough opponent in the first or second round, right?
Avanesian first round. And there was 3 sets.
I think I picked Avanesian to win that.
I don't know if I'm thinking of Avanesian when I'm thinking
No,
of
you might not be, but I know Kira had Avanesian in her semis.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I guess Kalinskaya was the opponent I had Haddad Maya losing to simply in the third round.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
But because I've got to go for Navarro even more. So I had Navarro beating Badosa. I have Sabalenka beating Zheng. Both in my bracket, and I will also stick with that. And I also had Iga beating Jessica Pegula. Okay, well, we'll soon find out over the next 24 hours or so. And you can all join the comment section in about a week from now. You'll get Clever after the event will be writing something about whatever we're saying. It'll probably be a quarterfinal lineup of Pegula, including Pegula, Zheng, and
Haddad Maya.
Haddad Maya lifting the title. Someone very clever from now will be writing, I told you Haddad Maya was going to win the US Open. And that will be it. Anyway, big thanks for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and all that other jazz. Do make sure you give these guys a follow, of course, on the social medias, primarily Twitter. And, of course, check out the Tennis One app as well, which is where you'll find Vanch. And check out Deepest Darkest Poland, where you'll find Damien. Clean shaven.
Not too dark today.
No, but clean shaven Damien as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to a challenger next week. It was getting out of control.
And I will be at a challenger in about 12 hours from now. I know I'll be meeting up, of course, with Carlos there, Vanch, who has met Carlos in person. I've met Carlos in person. Damien is yet to meet Carlos.
Carlos Alcaraz, great person, yeah.
Carlos the magician. But Carlos sent me a WhatsApp about an hour ago saying he hopes that Tommy Paul Yannick Sinner is done quickly because he's doing that for the YouTube channel A Punto de Break right now. And of course, he's also working at the Challenger tomorrow.
Starting at 3 a.m.
Yeah, I said don't rule out. So he says he hopes Yannick gets it done quickly. And I'm like, what about Tommy Paul might get it done quickly? Well, we'll soon find out. Anyway, cheers. And speak to you all soon.
Cheers.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.